On the evening of April 25th, a small boat carrying 3 men began taking on water as the men returned from a fishing trip in Galveston Bay near Bay Cliff, Texas. Before they could make it back to shore, the boat engine failed and the craft and men began drifting into the lanes of the Houston Ship Channel. Through fast actions and rescue maneuvers, the 3 men were rescued. This is the exclusive story of that fateful night.
The first call we received was from an inbound ship here who first noticed the people.
That was the first pilot.
That was the first pilot. That was Houston pilot.
Deckard.
Yeah, 155 on a ship called the Pine Fi. He was the initial reporting source. So what he reported to us was a boat of some kind that was almost completely submerged, and people standing on the deck of this boat with water up to their ankles, basically, and the boat going down. And the initial report, we weren't sure how many people, because he said the boat's sinking, the people are standing on the deck awash, meaning water's coming up on their feet, and the boat is drifting outside the channel, outside the navigable channel, about 200 yards. And this was at Light 65, Houston Ship Channel Light 65. So that was our first report. We didn't know how many people, we didn't know what the situation was.
The quick decisions are, first of all, the pilot. Like 152 made it. He was like, he knew exactly who to talk to try to get some help, and he notified us as soon as he saw him, which was important. As soon as the pilot notified us, the next step was just me notifying my supervisor so he could let other people know who could send out rescue units and stuff for the Coast Guard.
Part of what added to the difficulty here is you had a strong southwest wind that night coming from this direction, which was pushing the boat toward the ship channel. We don't worry too much when disabled boats, this is a pleasure craft, they're outside the channel, they're not in any danger of getting run over by ships in the ship channel. It's like getting out in the freeway. You get in the freeway, now you're in trouble. So the wind's blowing the boat into the ship channel. I've got 3 outbound ships. This is a dangerous situation. These people are in extreme need here of immediate assistance. Just getting dark. It was about 20:30 in the evening, 8:30 p.m. and we had quite a bit of traffic in the area there. He was on an inbound ship, first reported it, and there were 3 outbound ships just above where this was happening. The first ship responded to his report and said that they were too deep draft. The ship was too big to really stop and render any assistance. Then there were 2 more ships. The second one was, I believe, the BBC Romania, Captain Mike Morris. He was the second outbound ship, a much smaller ship, shallow draft. He decided that he was going to slow the ship, launch the ship's rescue boat, and do what he could to help these people.
First name Pavel, and second name Khazov. Rank Chief Officer.
And what do you do here?
No, I'm Chief Officer. I'm head of the deck department. Okay. Something like this, Romania. But the crew usually Russian and Ukrainian.
And how many crew members do you have?
Crew members 11, including master.
Tell us about the ship. Where do you go? What is the route that your ship takes?
From Houston to Colombia, and usually 3 ports, Santa Marta, Cartagena, Barranquilla, take new cargo and discharge very often in Mexico, and then in ballast to Houston for new cargo.
Were you present when they rescued the fishermen?
Yes.
What did you see? What did you see?
But I was changed my watch at 2000, and then in 2020 the master announced that everybody should master the rescue boat and preparation rescue boat for saving rescue operation. Sense was that just training or something like that. because nighttime it's unusual even in the canal, because not open sea in the canal. So then we see something in the light in the maybe about 2-3 miles in front of us, small light. And then we have some information that the fishermen should be rescued.
Captain Deckard was inbound on a vessel.
Is this a terminal thing for you?
Reported some people adrift in a small boat that was sinking, and they were standing in the boat. The boat was just off of Beacon 65-66. When he reported that to the Coast Guard and to all the pilots on Channel 74, I was outbound on a very small vessel there, what we call 5 mile, Beacon 75-76, or about 3.5 miles from where Captain Deckard was. I realized that I had a very handy vessel. It was very small, and when we went out and looked, we had a little rescue boat. We knew at that time that the Coast Guard had a helicopter on its way, as well as a small boat coming up from Galveston. I suggested to the captain that we could, at the very least, stop the vessel off of 65-66 and shine his floodlight over there so that people knew help was on its way. Or, if he was comfortable, we could launch his rescue boat and put it in the water and go get the guys. And he was up for that. He said his crew was ready to do that. So we got down in this area about 15 minutes later. We got the boat launched. I was a very good crew. They got the boat launched in unfavorable wind and weather conditions.
How many crew members were involved in the rescue?
Because according to the master lists, all crew members, because everybody has some own duties on this case, on this drill, maneuver boat.
Is there somebody else?
Yes, these 2 persons also take part in the rescue operation.
How are you? Yeah, come on over here. Come on. Thank you very much.
So these men stay on the bridge during the rescue
You
operation.
stay on the bridge?
The captain, without any doubt, decided to proceed to fishing boat and save people. People came on board. They came up to the bridge and gave them some tea, meal, some clothes, some blankets. Yes.
Did they eat all the food?
Yes.
Do you remember what you served them? What
Что там, чем кормили? Они же не ели ничего, Али говорил ничего.
Бутерброды, да.
Откуда? Али, так а бутерброды были, что ли, для этих рыбаков?
Да, Али нарезку сделал.
Али, бутерброды для них ты делал?
Да, делали что-то.
Да,
Some сэндвич с tea.
Sandwiches and
Андрей,
tea.
выгружайте.
I am Alexander. I am Boston. In this rescue operation, I was on this crane, and I following and lifting again back this rescue boat, and also I'm launching operation for rescue boat. This is my job.
They went over to the boat that was sinking and came alongside and picked up the 3 men. Just as the boat got launched, the helicopter arrived and provided good floodlight from above. So not too long after that, we got the men aboard. They came up. The captain had the whole crew working on this. He had people meet him at the gangway at the pilot ladder with blankets to keep them warm. From there, we went and The captain got them some hot tea. He actually even brought them some new clothes to put on to keep them warm, and they stayed up on the wheelhouse. At that point, we started to continue our transit outbound. We went about 2 more hours, and down there off the Galveston anchorages off buoy 18, the small Coast Guard vessel came alongside and picked up the 3 people that were rescued. We had let them use my cell phone so they could call their families, and we knew the rendezvous point down there at the Coast Guard base in Galveston. I think the real credit on this goes to the vigilance of Captain Decker. These men were knee-deep in water. All they were waving was a little T-shirt that they had been able to keep dry and light on fire with a little lighter, and were waving it in the air. It was at dusk, hard to see, and Captain Deckard, who was inbound, saw this and reported it immediately, and their lives were probably saved because of that. You can see, when we got them, they were cold and somewhat out of sorts, and as they were drifting, they would have just continued to drift up towards Trinity Bay and been nobody else to find them at that point. They were very lucky. They are very lucky to be alive, and I think they probably owe their lives to Captain Deckard and to a really good crew on the BBC Romania. All I had to do was keep the ship in the channel. You know, we pointed up in the wind as they launched the boat and adjusted our speed a little bit to stay in the channel. But I'd also tell you it was a team effort. It was a busy night on the ship channel. We had 3 ships astern of me in close proximity, all 1.5 mile separation. We had another 3 or 4 ships inbound, all coming on the scene, and everybody had to stop. So everybody is now holding up in the wind, but you know, that's what we do. We're pilots. We're the guardians of the bay here, and it truly was a team effort.